Hello there and welcome to El Loco for Leeds. My name's George. Welcome along to the channel, and today I'm delighted to say, with pre-season up and running, Leeds are up against Ajax. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Papi from We Talk Ajax to talk about Ajax. Papi, welcome along to the show. Thank you very much for joining me. How are you, mate? You all right?
Good, all good, man. Thanks, George, for having me. Glad you reached out. Glad we can have this discussion.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure. So, without any further ado, let's get going. So, it's obviously transfer season now, isn't it, Papi? So, first and foremost, what do you are you happy with the Ajax squad so far? What do you think they need to improve on? Because you've brought in one player so far, is that correct?
Yeah. We bought Berghuis from Feyenoord, one of our main competitors. Actually, it didn't go so well, but we picked him up for a very good price. I think they made a mistake in his contract or something, so it was like 6 million. Yeah, so we took away the best player of our biggest rivals, and that was basically our only transfer. But I must say we're having issues with COVID, financially selling players. It's not as it was before COVID, how we used to sell players and how quickly it used to go. That's not how it goes now. But
No.
if I look at the squad, we have a strong team. Just a couple of additions would help it get it to the next level. We want to compete on the Champions League level. We want to continue through the group phase. So that's the main priority. And I think they're talking about Bergwijn, the one that plays at Spurs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Even Bergwijn. They're thinking of buying him, but it's
All right.
also expensive. Like it's 25 mil, and but that's the kind of type of player they're looking for. Speedy, that has some benefits for us.
Yeah, because you've done all right, haven't you? Really over the few years, And I'm going to ask you about the manager in a little bit, Papi. But he's served you pretty well, hasn't he? But firstly, what are your hopes? You mentioned the Champions League. You obviously haven't got past the group stages the last couple of seasons, have you? So what is the kind of going in? I mean, you're very strong favourites, aren't you, for the league? Probably perennially. So what are your hopes for the Champions League this season?
My hopes are just to get through the group phase. The first phase, I think, if we get through that, I will be happy. Just because we didn't do that for the last, I think, 2 seasons now. And we had one big season where De Ligt and Frankie de Jong were still at Ajax, and Ziyech and Donny van de Beek and all those players. So a lot of those players moved on, and now we're trying to rebuild. And for Ajax, it's always, everything has to fit into place in a season for us to get very far in a Champions League. It's not like we can just buy whatever we want.
No, but it's very structured very nicely, isn't it, Papi? Because you've obviously got that really good youth system that has served you really well, hasn't it? Which obviously then players go on to kind of play in sort of the kind of elite European leagues, don't they? Really, but it's a great setup they've got there, I must say.
Yeah.
But I hope you do well because you got into obviously the semis, didn't you, that time with Spurs? Unfortunately, that was a great game, though, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah, it was just the score didn't go our way, but it was
just
a great game.
Yeah, it was useful to watch it, but heartbreaking, isn't it, for when it's your team. But going
Exactly,
on,
and I follow the Premier League a lot, and I'm a little bit more for Arsenal. So yeah,
oh,
Spurs is not really
makes it even worse then, Papi.
exactly, exactly.
Why Arsenal, mate? Why do you go? Is it the same colours as Ajax? Do you think is that why you picked it, or?
Well, look, George, I'm not the youngest, so I started watching soccer where, Ajax had Bergkamp and Canu and those kind of players. And when I grew up, those kind of players moved on to Arsenal. I started. I was a fan of Wenger, the coach Wenger, and yeah, absolute gentleman. Loved watching him. So, and he did great with Arsenal. So I used to watch every weekend all the games, and yeah, I couldn't help myself. So Ajax was always my team, but also in the Netherlands, like in 1995, we had a change in the contracts. Clubs had more to say, and then the players had more to say afterwards. So we couldn't invest as we were before. We didn't have the quality as we had before. So Ajax had to make also a change to go more for youth, combined with a little bit of experience. And yeah, what you see now is just benefits of what started already then.
Yeah, I must say it's a good sort of balance to the team. I think looking at that kind of Ajax team at the moment, they've got some. It's a nicely balanced side. But what do you reckon, Papi, to the manager at the moment? Obviously, he's done it quite well, hasn't he? He's been quite successful. Bagged a
Yeah.
couple of cups and whatnot, and he won the league last season. So what do you reckon? Will he bring it home for you this time again?
I mean, Ajax has been dominant in the league the last couple of seasons, and the only real competition we have is maybe PSV, I think, this year. So it's not really like the Premier League. Everybody can get in the top six or something. Here it's like two teams that are gonna fight for it. Feyenoord was back then a big rival, but they're in financial trouble, so they're not gonna be competing a lot because they can't invest either. They're losing their best players. AZ is losing their best players. So yeah, I think the one that made the most investments are PSV, and I think those are the main competitors. But are they at the level of Ajax? Yeah, as a fan, I would say no. And I think that's just the Europe experience that we have in us, and yeah, just the technical ability of our players.
I think it's right. It's interesting, watching the Dutch league and things because there is quite a gap. Obviously, Ajax are strong at the front really a lot of the time, but then there does seem a bit of a gap between the sort of like you say PSV and everybody. And it must be. Is it a little bit frustrating for you? I know it's nice to win, obviously, the league, but is it a bit frustrating to see it being won so, the other teams having such a gap, or, is it quite nice just to win the league pretty much? I know you don't win every time, do you? But you win. You've had a
No,
good success recently.
no, we don't win every time, and it's been close some of the time. So really, it's not always clear cut. I'm gonna be honest about that, but you do see that in Europe, we're bringing in the coefficient, the points, for Holland, so they can just stay in Europe, in Champions League and playing Europa League. Um, we've been dominant there, and I think the image of Dutch football is because of Ajax. The last couple of years of how strong we've been playing in Europe, and the youth talent that is coming from our academy. So yeah, I think we're front runners. But sometimes I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of, especially against the lower teams, it can be like boring, kind of, because
Yeah,
you're gonna win.
yeah.
The intensity is not there, and I feel like when I watch, for instance, Premier League, everybody can lose from anyone. If you're not 100%, you can lose.
Well, that's it, mate, innit? And that's what I'm kind of getting at, really, because yeah, it's sort of must be sometimes it's a bit of a doddle for you, isn't it, to just turn up to the lower sides and turn them over. Whereas in the Premier League, like you say, it is a little bit more competitive, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then you have these Champions League football as well, don't you, Papi? Which is a bit more sort of competitive for you guys to test yourself against. the likes of Real Madrid and Juventus and whatnot. I mean, it must be great. I mean, I said to you, didn't we? Probably we'd do it again, and once we're in the Champions League playing you guys, and it might not be too long. But that leads me on, Papi, to say, what do you reckon to Leeds? Have you? I mean, you say you've watched a lot of the Premier League.
Yeah.
Have you been impressed by Leeds and Bielsa last season? What were your thoughts on them?
I mean, come on. If you're promoted and you end up ninth in the league, that's just a huge respect. But to be honest, Leeds has been talked about before they even came to the Premier League, because they started rebuilding. I've heard rumors when Nketiah went to Leeds on a loan. They were in the championship still, and I think that was the COVID season. You guys became champions.
That was it.
It was COVID, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think that was Bielsa's second season.
That's right. Yeah.
At Leeds. So yeah, I mean, Bielsa really brought something special, I think, to Leeds, because Leeds was already being talked about of how great they were playing in the championship. And I even remember, I don't know, I think like somebody from Arsenal saying, I'm dreading going against Leeds in the FA Cup, I think, because
we played them in the FA Cup, Papi. Yeah, that we lost 1-0 in that season. We got promoted. Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, I think it was no fear kind of thing, Papi, and that's what in the Premier League it just came into. We kind of just went up against the teams, and sometimes it didn't work out. We got beat heavily at Man United. Which was, disappointing, as a really big rivalry, obviously, between the two sides. But that happens, and we learned as the season went on, we got tighter and defensively, and they did well. I mean, in sort of Holland, Papi, is what are the thoughts of Bielsa? Because Ajax have a couple of Argentinian players in the side at the moment, don't they?
They have Martinez, and we have the left back Tagliafico that's been with us for a long time. But we also have two Brazilians that are Anthony and Neres for the wingers. So yeah, and we have a Mexican, Alvarez, as well in the defensive position. So yeah, enough South American people at Ajax, and I mean, Bielsa is a known name, and I think Leeds. Bad ownership brought you guys, in a very bad position. But I think the new owner, the new technical guy, I don't remember his name, I'm sorry, but he came from Southampton, I think, that does most of the scouting and transfers.
There's Victor Orta.
Yeah, exactly.
He came from, he's been with us a few years. I think he came from Middlesbrough. And then he really takes control. He's done a fantastic job, Papi, to be fair. Really brought some fantastic players in at some really good prices as well. And
exactly. And what I wanted to say, I mean, they brought in also Bielsa. That was the start of them wanting to move forward. And I think, I see similarities there with the successes Ajax has been having with what you guys had, a good owner, a good technical man, and a good coach, and that combination that lifted everybody up at Leeds. And you see that with us. We have, when we got Van der Sar, Mark Overmars, and Ten Hag, that trio also started making Ajax better.
So I must say, Papi, I haven't really heard of Ten Hag a great deal. I mean, he's been there for quite a few years now, hasn't he? Was he a sort of a welcome appointment when he was appointed, or?
No, not really. I mean, look, Ajax, we can be kind of cocky sometimes. So he has a whole different backstory, and he's not from Amsterdam, and he never played for Ajax. But we heard very good stuff. He went. I think he was coaching also in Bayern Munich before he came to coach I think under Pep Guardiola, he
Oh,
under
right.
Bayern Munich. I
Yeah.
think he was an assistant or he was doing the second team coaching. I don't remember. But then he came to a Dutch team here in FC Utrecht here in Holland. Did also very well, and Ajax lost their coach and wanted somebody new, and he was top on the list. But if you're gonna ask me, all the fans, if they were happy, no, I don't think so. But he
No.
proved us all wrong.
Yeah, because like I say, he's had some good success, hasn't he? He's won you quite a few trophies. To be fair, in his little part. Is it Is it two leagues and two cups? Is it Papi that he's got since he came?
Yeah, two
Yeah.
leagues, two cups, and a Champions League semi-final, and
Yeah, exactly.
that's
So
big for us.
yeah,
Yeah,
of course, fantastic stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And so, I mean, are you going? I mean, obviously, we'll talk about a little bit about the match, Papi. I know it's just a friendly game, but are you going to the game on Wednesday? Isn't it? We play.
No, I'm not going to that game, but I will watch it, of course. Um, I'm just interested in how Leeds are gonna tackle Ajax. To be honest, just
It'll
very
be
curious about that.
it'll be a good matchup, I think. I mean, what kind of as Leeds fans, who should we kind of look out for in your side? Who's the man that you'd say he's going to cause us some a bit of problems?
I would say two guys, especially two guys, and those are the most experienced guys. I think Tadic, our captain,
Yeah,
on the left wing, very dangerous on the ball, and I think also Daley Blind. I don't know if he's going to play on the midfield or defensively, but he has an amazing passes in breaking down lines, So forward passing is very critical with Ajax's game, very possession based. So yeah, those two players, if you guys can press them well, take out the ball from under them, it can be a Leeds game.
and who do you think is on the Leeds side, Pappy? Who are you kind of looking forward to or wary about? Who's going to cause you a few problems?
Uh, I think Phillips, of course, a Leeds man, so he will never give up. And I will think also the captain Liam. Liam, is that Collins?
Cooper. Cooper.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah, Cooper.
Those two I have very highly in my. But it's not just players, for me. It's also about the Bielsa philosophy, the Bielsa swarm. How good are you going to press? If there's one, because off the ball, Leeds is crazy energetic, right? They don't let you build up the way you want to build up. So I think if Ajax is not 100% focused or not 100% good on the ball, which they usually are, Leeds can really hurt us in that game.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really interesting game, actually, Pappy. I think, I think it is sort of similar in a way. Obviously, we're quite a way off you guys because you've got all the, the experience of Champions League, you win titles and stuff. But it's going to be an interesting matchup, I think. And I don't think we'll be too far behind you. I mean, to be honest with you, I do expect you guys to win.
To be honest, I don't even think like that. For me, it's a preseason. I think a lot of youngsters at Ajax side are also going to play. So I look forward more to that. And this is also the second season of Leeds. I just want to see how they progressed in the way of play and quality.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested because you get in England, you get the sort of second season syndrome they talk about, which obviously hit Sheffield last season. But I'm interested. I think that's out the question. I don't think we're going to get relegated. But I'm very interested to see if we progress, because we weren't actually, Pappy, that far off the top six last season. I think we ended up 6 points off them. And so if we can just get a couple of games, couple of wins here and there, where we might sneak it. But for me, we need to be a bit more active in the transfer market, to be honest, and we need one or two more players in. But it's all building up to quite an exciting season. We've got a few fixtures pre-season as well to come. And but Ajax is definitely the best. It's definitely the one to look forward to. Unfortunately, the away fans can't can't go to Amsterdam and watch
Oh, really?
it. But yeah, I think they're only giving it to Dutch-based fans.
Okay.
Or yeah, they're not allowed to travel due obviously to the COVID. So there won't be any Leeds fans in there, unfortunately.
That sucks.
But we'll all be watching it on the telly and looking forward to a good game. Just finally, Papi, what are your thoughts on the new? I noticed obviously Ajax have gone a bit retro with the
With the
badge.
kid?
How has that gone down with the fan base?
Oh, it was always wanted by the fan base, so they're
Oh,
very
really?
happy about it. Yeah,
Yeah, I must
yeah,
admit it's quite smart that it's quite it, it's it's
yeah. I
interesting.
mean, we love the retro look of that Ajax logo, and we've been wanted it for a while now. Um, I mean, is it the best kit? You could argue about it, but at
Yeah.
least we got some retro back in our kit, and we're happy about that. We and we're also anticipating the third kit. It might be a Bob Marley kit kind of thing. So
Yeah, I've seen that actually. Looks really, I might have to get that one myself. If it is that. But yeah, they are popular over here. Actually, the Ajax shirts. I think a lot of people, do seem to get them. It's a popular team. I think even around the world, obviously, and in England as well. It seems they are. But just finally, Pappy, before I let you go, what's your score prediction for Wednesday? I know it's only a friendly game, but we like to do it on my channel, so I'll.
yeah, I think it will be a higher scoring game, just because Leeds is very high energy, very direct in their play. Let me just go with maybe 2-2, 3-3, something like that.
That'd be a great game, wouldn't it? Watching that two
That's
goals.
usually a Leeds game, right? I,
It is,
I, I
yeah,
think
mate.
so.
6-2, 4-3, 5-3, whatever you want. Yeah, that's usually what happens.
Can
Oh
I
well,
ask you one final question
of
though?
course you can,
It's
Pappy. Yeah,
it's about Leeds though.
yeah.
How are you guys financially, and how are the transfers going now so far for Leeds?
I think actually financially they're really stable. Pappy. Really, they've really steadied it. Obviously, like you said, we had some really bad owners over the years. In particular, well, Salino just seemed to run the club like a bit of a circus, to be honest. But since Radrazani's come in, he's really steadied it. I think round Leeds at the moment, mate, it's just a really nice feel to it. Whereas for so long it's been terrible. The fans have been against the owners, the players haven't been so united. But nowadays it's all knitted together. Owners, managers, players, fans, they're all just together. It's brilliant. I mean, and to be honest, like I say, I think we need one or two more players in.
What
Um, I,
position?
I would say centre. I would say centre mid, centre attacking mid. We like to play 4-1-4-1. So I believe we need one in that sort of number 10 role, probably. I mean, we've got Mateus Click and Rodrigo, who I think will have a better season, Pappy, this time. We saw a bit more of him last season towards the end of it. But I don't see us spending big money. I'd say
So
CAM, centre attacking mid, and I'd say a winger, just to give that
so
bit.
someone like Costa, for instance, that you guys had in the championship.
Yeah, I mean, Costa, I must admit, to be honest with you, Pappy, gets a real bad press from the fans. And a
Oh,
lot
really?
of the fans would like to see him out, to be honest with you. Which I've always rated him. I've always rated him. But I think if he's going to go, we need somebody in. And there's been loads of names mentioned. There's been Noah Lang was from Bruges was a real strong link, but nothing's come of it. And so far, we've only got Firpo from Barcelona in at left back, which was a much needed addition really, because obviously we lost Alioski. He signed for
that was a good player. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, I think. So we needed another first choice left back, which we've got. For me, yeah, a winger and a CAM would be just that'd be all we need. Just slowly build it up. We don't need to spend loads of money because we spent a lot last season. Just build up the players every summer. Just add one or two in and see where we go. But there is, again, sorry, Papi, just a final question that I'd like to ask you is about Pascal Struijk.
Yeah.
Do you remember Pascal? I know he's very young. He's only just going to turn 22. But do you remember him? I obviously didn't play, did he? Do you remember him at all? No.
Not at least not for the first team, and I didn't really follow him in the youth. No.
No. But I mean, what have you made of his season last season? Because he really came in and he's a real fan's favourite. He's turning into for us.
You know, everybody that comes from Ajax is going to have that technical ability, you know, because we really focus on that in our youth academy. So on the ball, he's going to be very strong. Usually they lack the off-ball vision, off-the-ball work rate, you know what I mean? But if he can combine those two, he could be very useful for Leeds. I just hope you guys have a broad enough squad because it's a long season, Premier League.
I think that the problem is, Papi, with Leeds is and Bielsa. One of the only issues really that I have with Bielsa is the small squad. You know, because you get injuries and because he works them so hard. You know, we always get injuries, and you're relying on the youth players who aren't quite up to the Premier League standard at all, really yet. And you know, for me, I'd love to see the squad just beefed out a bit more, because if we lose one or two key players, it's there where we dip a little bit, and that's where we might suffer into getting into Europe. That might be the difference between getting it and not getting it. And you know, at the end of the day, I'd be quite happy just to stay up again, to be honest with you. You know,
true. And that's the most important thing. Staying up in the Premier League is already going to give you massive budget, you know, to buy players. And you know, building a squad is not easy. It took Ajax years, and it's going to take Leeds also years for it to be totally evolved to the Premier League.
Absolutely, Will. Yeah, go on, mate. Yeah.
No, I mean, I wanted to say, and I believe your owner is a great man, you know, part of the community, part of the Leeds fan base, and I believe he will take you guys further, you know. Like I kind of compare it, I don't compare it, but if I look at Arsenal, for instance, there's a distance between the ownership and the fan base and the players, and you guys don't have that, you know. So
like I said, Papi, yeah, it's honestly, I've never known it be so kind of together right the way through the club, really, at the moment. I mean, have you watched the documentary on Leeds?
Yes, I did.
How did you find that as a sort of fan of, you know, obviously not a Leeds United fan? How did you find that?
I was just stunned by how big the fan base is. You know, that Leeds was a very big club in the, I think, 70s, 80s. Yeah. And in the 90s, you guys also played Champions League. So a lot have happened, and it took 16 years before you guys came back to the Premier League. So those kind of things, every football supporter likes those kind of stories, you know. It just showed me how important having good ownership is.
Yeah.
You know?
Honestly, it's just made the complete difference. You know, because like I said, Celino before him, he just run it like a circus, and you know the fans were very disunited against him, and you know, you hear silly stories coming out. But nowadays, Radrazani just runs it like it's a real tight ship. Victor
Really.
Orta, Angus Kinnear there as well, and obviously Bielsa, and everybody loves him. And it'll be a really sad day when he goes, but it's going to happen at some point.
And that Bielsa Spygate
Oh yeah.
thing also caught my eye. Like that was crazy. I just didn't understand why it was such a big thing.
Well, what in Dutch football, Papi? What would that be seen as? Would that be frowned upon? I mean, what would the rules be?
I mean, I didn't understand why it was unsportsmanlike conduct. Like I mean, you can also just get tape video and watch how they play and get your answers from that. I mean, sending somebody to to the training. I mean, why was that such a big issue? And why was he fined 200,000? And I love that Bielsa, paid that 200,000 himself.
Yeah,
Makes him a great man and a humble guy, and love him as a coach and just his mentality,
he's
of
brilliant. I
making
mean,
players better.
he does. Every single member of that, that squad is nearly our champion. There were times in the Premier League last season, Happy, that we'd be playing our Championship team against Premier League sides. He's just elevated that squad past, past anything. He's just gone. They've just elevated their level of performance massively. I remember the first game he came in, Papi, a few years ago, and it was basically the same team as the season before. We'd finished mid-table in the second division, and we're thinking, well, how the hell are we playing like this? We beat the team who were Stoke, who were favourites to go up. We battered them, and it was like, wow, how's he gone to make that team so much better in such a short space of time? But he did it, and we've just gone from strength to strength, and it's great. Long may it continue. 16 years, like you said, and it was such a shame we couldn't really celebrate it or be in the stadium because obviously of COVID, and it obviously messed it up. But it was such a Leeds thing to do, to get promoted after 16 years without the fans being able to allow it in. But that's the way it goes. Fans
But
are allowed in.
still, maybe some great things will happen now in the Premier League as well.
Yeah,
So.
hopefully, mate. Hopefully, are fans going back in this season to in Holland?
Yeah, they are, but it's constantly going up and down. So, now I think they closed up some stuff because the COVID went up again. But I hope if everybody's vaccinated, everything opens up and we can just watch. But I'm sure against Leeds, all the tickets were sold, so I'm sure everybody's going to be there.
Is it sold out then, or is it a full capacity, or is it a? Oh, excellent! It'll be excellent to watch. I'm really looking forward to watching it. But I suppose that wraps us up, Papi, for this evening's chat. It's been really lovely to talk to you. Pleasure to have you on. And
Same here, George. Thank you for having me, man.
Thanks, mate. And you enjoy the game. Hope not too much though. And but it's only a friendly, isn't it? So we can all enjoy this one. And we'll
good luck this season.
Yeah, hopefully Ajax will have a good one, and hopefully you'll win the league again and get into the Champions. Do well in the Champions League. But it's lovely stuff. Been great to have you, Papi.
Thank you, man.
Take care of yourself, mate.
Take care. Bye-bye.
See you later.